I really can tell how God is moving because I start pastoring in Casa del Alfarero in Richmond. God opened the door in Union City, and we start working in Union City, and God, He's been so good. The church start growing.
I think there's a direct connection between how God worked with the invitation for me to be the chaplain of our county sheriff's department, which not only allowed ministry to law enforcement, but it allowed me to go into any block of our jail any day of the week. And so the first few days, the first few weeks I'm in this block, most of the guys are hesitant. They don't want anything to do with me. As a pastor, I'm very open about what I'm there for, to pray for them and talk to them about the hope that they have in Jesus. And within 5 or 6 weeks, the whole block would shut down when I get there. They'd turn off the TV and there'd be 20 or 30 guys just sitting in the whole block, and we'd be talking, we'd be praying. And one day I just stopped and I'm like, guys, do you go to church when you're not in jail? And they're like, no, we don't go to church. No, look at us, facial tattoos, like we got criminal histories. Of course we don't. Like we were judged the minute we walk in the door.
Well, as God was stirring my heart, He said this. He said, Michael, you do what I've called you to do, and I'll do the things that you can't. I said, okay, that sounds fair enough. Well, about 30 minutes after that prayer time with God, I received a call from Steve Lillis, who is the president of Gospel Trick Shots. And he said, Michael, he said, I have an invitation for you. I said, what's that, Steve? He said, how would you like to represent the United States of America in the World Black Ball Championships? And oh, by the way, it's in Tangier, Morocco, just about 30 minutes from where you did the missions trip in Spain with Pastor Marcos. When I heard that and all expenses were paid, I mean, again, this was God doing something that I could not. Immediately, I called Dr. Gorvat. I said, Mark, we're planting a church in Sevilla, Spain. Look out.
So we ended up starting a worship gathering, a third service at Pathway, specifically for people who are coming out of addictions, who are coming out of jail, who were just really would never want to walk in the door of a church. We called it 116, based off Romans 1:16. I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's the power of God at work to save everyone who believes. And that's what we saw over the course of that year that we launched a church, that we launched that gathering. We saw people who were coming from addictions, people who would come to church. People in our church would look over and go, I grew up with this kid. I can't believe he's getting baptized right now. I would never have guessed he would be getting baptized anywhere, let alone our church.
We're going to have a service for baptisms, and we want to come there with the 3 churches together, the Richmond, Union City, and Portland. We're going to have one service, and we're going to be together to see how many people is going to be baptized that day.
That very next Sunday, I shared this vision with our church family, and literally everybody began applauding, and they stood up and they cheered, and right away they began to get behind our church planting campus in Spain.
Sunday morning worship experience is not the end, it's the means to an end. It's to recharge and infuse us with power, but the real work is done outside of the walls. I've worked many years at a couple of our local high schools with FCA, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. What a beautiful opportunity to work with just hundreds of kids over the years and be involved in their life. Some we've led to Christ, we've baptized them, we've watched them grow up, they're serving the Lord. But for each of us, there is a mission field. There is a place to go. There are words to say. There are things for our hands to do. There are hearts to love on. If we're open to that, God will move us because He is on the move.